What would happen if a python swallowed a porcupine? Sounds like the start of a joke or a twisted nature documentary, right? But this story is very real, and it didn't end well for the snake. In today's episode, we're diving deep into one of the strangest, most bizarre encounters in the animal kingdom, when one of the largest snakes in the world decided to take on a living pincushion. Grab your seat because this tale gets wild, spiky, and surprisingly tragic. It all started on a dusty road winding through a peaceful nature reserve in South Africa. A cyclist, probably just trying to enjoy the view or get in some cardio, stumbled across something strange. There on the side of the road was a giant African rock python, motionless. Its belly was massive, stretched to the limit, obviously having eaten something huge. The cyclist called the local rangers. And that's when the mystery began. What had this enormous snake eaten? A small warthog, a baby antelope, a careless tourist's pet? Nobody knew. But one thing was certain, it had eaten something it absolutely should not have. The African rock python is no joke. It can grow over 6 meters long, almost 20 feet. And though this one was only 4 meters long, about 13 feet, it was more than capable of taking down big game. Pythons are constrictors. They don't use venom. Instead, they coil around their prey and squeeze until blood can no longer circulate, death by suffocation. Brutal, effective, and silent. Once the prey is dead, they swallow it whole. And because their jaws can dislocate, they can engulf animals way bigger than their heads. But this time, the python had bitten off more than it could chew. Literally. A few days later, rangers returned to find the snake dead. It hadn't been attacked. There were no signs of external injury. So they did what scientists and curious humans do. They opened it up. Inside, a 15-kilogram, 33-pound porcupine. Porcupines, unlike what cartoons suggest, can't shoot their quills, but their spines are no joke. They're sharp, barbed, and designed to lodge themselves into anything that gets too close. Once embedded, they can cause intense pain, infection, and internal damage. This porcupine didn't go down without a fight. The python's insides told a gruesome tale. As the snake tried to digest the porcupine, its powerful stomach acids couldn't break down the quills fast enough. The result? Its intestines were torn apart from the inside, shredded. To make things worse, researchers believe the snake may have fallen off a ledge. That impact likely pushed the quills even deeper into the snake's vital organs. Imagine being full to the brim with sharp spikes and then slamming into the ground. A deadly combination of bad choices and bad luck. Let's get one thing clear. Snakes are opportunistic. They go for prey that moves slowly, looks vulnerable, and fits the "I can wrap around this and swallow it" checklist. Porcupines are slow, they're heavy, they don't run, so from the outside they might look like a great snack. But hunger makes animals reckless, and this python was probably starving, willing to gamble its life for a large meal. That is the biological equivalent of us saying, "I know this is expired gas station sushi, but I'm really hungry." A 2003 study published in the Journal of Herpetology looked into similar cases. They found that porcupine quills can and do pierce almost every part of a python's body: intestines, lungs, heart. The spikes are sharp, rigid, and barbed. Once inside, they resist removal. And because snakes rely on muscle contractions to move food through their bodies, each contraction makes things worse. In short, the snake digests itself while trying to digest its prey. This isn't the only time it's happened. Other snakes have died trying to eat porcupines, hedgehogs, even large birds with strong talons. Some have been found with entire antlers inside them. Why? Because evolution doesn't make perfect predators. It makes survivors. And sometimes the gamble doesn't pay off. It's a cruel reminder that in nature there's no insurance policy. If you make the wrong call, you pay for it with your life. This case is more than a weird nature story. It's a powerful illustration of how hunger affects behavior. So, snakes usually take time to choose their prey carefully, but starvation rewires instincts. It makes animals take risks they otherwise wouldn't. For humans, it might mean eating spoiled food or stealing. For a python, it meant swallowing a living weapon. And that decision turned fatal. When the photos of the dissected python hit the internet, they exploded. People couldn't believe it. A python died eating a porcupine. It sparked debates, memes, even sympathy for the snake. Others saw it as a lesson in hubris. Don't assume you can handle something just because you can swallow it. Some joked, that porcupine took the idea of fighting back to a whole new level. This story isn't sanitized, there's no happy ending, but that's exactly why it's worth telling. Nature isn't like a cartoon, it's not always majestic or graceful. Sometimes it's violent, sometimes it's cruel, but it's always fascinating. The python versus porcupine saga reminds us that evolution is messy, survival is risky, and hunger changes everything. One predator, one prey, and a fatal mistake that left behind one of the most bizarre autopsies in the wild. Next time you see a porcupine, maybe give it a little more respect. After all, even a 4-meter python couldn't stomach it. Like this story, subscribe for more strange, true wildlife encounters. And remember, nature doesn't pull punches.